evening, everyone. Good to see you all. I'm Jennifer DeSimus. I'm the library director here at First Church. And we just want to say all are always welcome. If you like us on a Tuesday night, you'll love us on a Sunday morning. So you're welcome to visit. We're also on YouTube. But we're so delighted to partner with the public library again and have the storytelling event here. And I think you're really going to love it tonight. So I'll just turn it over to Carol Waxman.
Thank you, Jennifer. Good evening, friends, and thank you so very much for joining us tonight for the annual Gertrude Blanks storytelling event, Your Journey, Your Story. I am Carol Waxman, Manager of Children and Teen Services for the West Hartford Public Library, and it is my honor to be your host tonight. This annual celebration of storytelling and community is co-hosted by the West Hartford Public Library, the First Church of West Hartford, and the Town of West Hartford Office of Equity Advancement. Funding has been generously provided by the Thomas F. Kilfoyle Memorial Bequest West Hartford Library Foundation. I must share with you that in all of my 40-plus years with the West Hartford Public Library, this event has always been one of my top favorites. It is an opportunity for us to gather together to honor a woman who has done so much to enrich children and adults by sharing a rich oral tradition, and to give us an opportunity to gather together in friendship and community to meet 3 of our West Hartford neighbors who have journeyed through challenges and tremendous obstacles too enormous for us to imagine, and to hear their personal stories. We gather tonight to celebrate Gertrude Blanks, a woman who gave many gifts to all, especially sharing the universal art of storytelling, and to become a local legend and celebrity to adults and children through the course of her long career. I know that many of you in the audience today had the privilege of enjoying friendship with Mama Blanks. I, too, met her on several occasions. Gertrude Blanks was born in Baltimore, Maryland, and moved to Hartford, Connecticut as a young child in the early 1920s. She lived with her grandparents on Pliny Street in Hartford, while her mother worked as a domestic in a West Hartford home. Gertrude attended Arsenal School, and I must share with you a little personal note about this. My father's family lived in the same neighborhood as Gertrude. My father attended Arsenal School as an elementary student, and they were the same age. So when I think about Gertrude and my dad going to school together at the Arsenal School in Hartford, I hope they were great friends, and it makes me very happy. Gertrude attended Hall High School. She became the first African-American student to graduate from Hall in 1938. Storytelling became her special time with her mother and a way to feel connected to her people and her history. She worked at the Hartford Public Library, where I met her, for more than 20 years, offering story times and continuing her outreach by visiting many schools and organizations seeking her services until her later years of life. She was an inspiration for poets and storytellers that followed her legacy. Tonight, we will hear about the journeys of 3 distinguished community members. They will share their personal stories, all laced with courage, bravery, optimism, and hope, and the goal of finding a better and safer life for themselves and their families. They will speak about their country of origin and how they came to be a part of our own West Hartford community. They will share their challenges, their triumphs, and ongoing struggles today. It is our honor to offer them this important forum. I know that you will never forget their stories and will feel blessed to have made these new friends. It is now my honor to introduce Adeebah Aldabaan.
Hi, everyone. I am Adeebah Aldabaan. I am mother of 6 children. And that's my son with me, Naji Aldabaan. Say
Hi, my name is Naji, and I'm her oldest child. I'll be here translating.
Uh, Thank you. I will speak a little bit English and Arabic. We are from Syria. Before that word, before everything, I have a beautiful family, a nice husband. When this happened, the word, my life is changed. Everything is changed. I have my flowers in my around my house. Everything is, the color is different. Everything is black. I ask myself, what I do now? I just asked my friend. We moved to Jordan. When we come to Jordan, I feel like safe. It's okay, but this country, we can work. We can start work or start. It's like making money. What we do? I asked my husband, what we do now? He just told me, Adeebah, we just think it's okay. My children with us, we are safe. It's okay. We are. It's like hope. I meet with with the lady. She is from America. She is named Kayla. She live in California, but she come to Jordan. She just want to learn English, learn Arabic. When I meet with her, she come to my house. She is very nice lady. She told me, Adeebah, you can help me with the Arabic and I can help you with English. It's just word, you know, because I don't know I will come in the future in America. This is not in my mind, never. This happened is like quickly. But when I meet with her, I have is like a small notebook because I am artist. Yeah, what is like I'm just drawing is tree or small thing, flowers. That's it. When she just see my art, my notebook, she told me, Adeebah, you artist. I tell her, please stop. She told, yes, you are. She bring from me is like 2 paper. She told me, Adeebah, I will send to America, but we need time, maybe 1 month or 2 months. I tell her, it's okay, no problem, take your time, I'm just waiting. When she come after, I think 2 months, she come to me, she have is like 100 and something. She told me, Adeebah, I bought your, I sell your art. I'm really surprised. This first money I make it or I help my family. You don't know what happened. I'm so happy. I tell my children, come in here. I have 100. I'm working now. It's okay. Don't worry. Yeah, really, this happened with me. And also my husband, I told him, I will help you. Here start a little bit. You know, every monthly, they have people coming to Jordan. It's like American, different country, but they come just want help the people. This is so nice. Please, please, I need just tell you, a lot of people, they need help. A lot of people like me. When they come, just I sell my drawing, and this help my family. Yeah. And when we come to America, we come here is 2016 with 5 children, and start with Naji.
Yep. So basically going back a little bit, in 2011, when the war began in Syria, we had to find a safer place to live in. Schools were shut down. Everything was chaotic, and it happened very quickly. My dad was arrested, just like every other male in the city that we were living in. When he was taken into custody, my mom has to take over, helping our family, providing for us during a time where there was shootings, bombing in the streets. She was able to provide for our family during that time, and she did basically the impossible to get my dad out of prison. Um, إمتى صار هذا الحكي؟ إمتى طلعتي من السجن؟
Yeah, this before 2012.
So 2012, when she was able to get him out of prison, that's when we decided that we can no longer live in Syria and we had to move elsewhere. The only destination that we were able to move to was Jordan. Everybody else was crossing the border to Jordan, and there was tents that were built throughout the borders so that families could live in. It was a heaven to us being able to sleep one night without waking up on the sounds of bombs or shootings, and the fact that we no longer feel or think that we might die at any moment. It was tough in Jordan. We weren't allowed to work, and somehow, like my mom said, she met a friend who came over from California through a church in Jordan. And what they would do is go visit refugee families and learn Arabic, as well as help that family out spiritually and financially. And somehow my mom showed Killa her drawing. She used a notebook to make a little drawing, and Killa told her that you might be able to help your family out with your talent. So she brought her a drawing book. She brought her pencils and different colors and charcoal. That was the first time my mom found out that there is actually charcoal that you can use for drawing. After that, my mom started drawing. Killa would bring her drawing artwork over to the United States and, put them out in events like this. So she would sell them and come back to Jordan, and she would give the money back to my mom. We stayed in Jordan for about 4 years. It was tough. I had to stop going to school because of bullying that I went through. So for 4 years, I wasn't able to go to school. بعد سوريا.
جينا على أمريكا هون كان.
So in 2016, we came over to the United States on the day of elections. It was interesting.
Yeah.
When we came over, we weren't sure how that was going to affect us. We moved to Manchester. There was an organization that sponsored us, and they helped us out with appointments, doctor appointments, school, and finding a job for my father. We lived in Manchester for about 4 months, and after 4 months of living in Manchester, we received a death threat from a phone number. He was saying, our family's name. He knew our address and how many people were living in the house. He said, you have 24 hours to leave America or we will come and shoot you. We thought, it was, we couldn't really stay in the house anymore. We can no longer feel safe in our home. Just as we thought that our life was getting better, we're back to our starting point. That's when we moved to West Hartford. Everybody was saying that it's too expensive, but when we drove by West Hartford, we really liked, there was something special about the community of West Hartford. We felt very welcomed. The schools were great. I went to Hall High School, and I thought that I really received the best support that would prepare me to go to a college. And since then, we've been in West Hartford for about 8 years now.
We are lucky. Yeah.
That's it.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Well, I think that we can all agree that we're so lucky to have this family living in our town. Thank you. So in my haste and hurry to introduce them, I forgot to tell you a little bit about the family, but since they've told you all of that, you'll forgive me, and I'll move on to our next speaker, and I'll tell you a little bit about Tiec Lê. Mr. Tiec Van Lê is a Vietnamese American whose journey from adversity to freedom truly captures the essence of resilience and determination. He first arrived in the United States from Vietnam in 1972 to pursue higher education at the University of Connecticut, where he completed the Development Administrator Training Program. Following his studies, Mr. Lê returned to Vietnam in 1973, but after the fall of Saigon in 1975, he was soon faced with severe political challenges. He was arrested and spent 30 months in a re-education camp. Demonstrating incredible courage, Mr. Lê managed to escape Vietnam after his release and made his way back to the United States, where he has built a new life in West Hartford. His experiences have instilled in him a profound appreciation for freedom and justice, values he continues to uphold in his community. Mr. Lê is a regular patron at our Faxon Branch Library and a member of the West Hartford Library's Translation Committee. Please welcome Tiec Lê.
Good evening. First, I appreciate very much for the library staff, especially for my friend Pramod, the supervisor for the Faxon Library. I talked with him several times, and he asked me to, if any, I can contribute some, like my own story of my life. My name is Tiec Lê. I come from Vietnam, but I born in the South Vietnam, not in the North, because you know that Vietnam, after French defeated from the big battle, Dien Bien Phu, the Vietnam divided by the North and the South. I born in the South, so we enjoy the freedom, especially from the 1954 when America helped to send the President Diem, they call him Mr. President Diem, back to South Vietnam. So we enjoyed, from the 1954 to 1967. And then the communist guerrilla, waged the war. So you know the name, they call the Tet Offensive. I almost escaped. If I still live in the central Vietnam, divided by the three regions, North, South, and North, Central, and the South, because I live in the South. But my assignment, when the government assigned me as chief of the administrative department when I work in Kontum province. So the Kontum, that's the location where the big battle occurred between, I think, 3 divisions from the North Communist Vietnam with the American, the Division 103 Infantry, the American infantry, where I worked in Kontum. But I, very, very fortunate, thanks to the God. My parents, especially my wife, when I work in there, they felt not happy life when I worked there. So they and I, my parents and my wife, braved how to bring me back to South Vietnam, to the South. But fortunately, because we have to appreciate for this presence of the American division, they call it 103 Infantry Division. Without their support in the Kontum Pleiku, the whole, province in the highland will be destroyed by the communists. And I estimate around, 10,000 people, include myself, because we are working in the administrative staff in headquarters, will be captured, and we don't know, die or survive, live or survive. But after the, thank for the American support, 1972, if American withdrew all the, forces, I think we don't want to wait until 1975 when Saigon fell to the communists. We will be lost right in 1972. But because the Americans still support and reinforce, so I think that the 3 communist divisions facing with the, about the 2 division Vietnamese, army, and 1, the American division, we defeated them, and we saved all, around 8 million Vietnamese people there, from Huế, the central Vietnam, to Saigon. Now they call it Ho Chi Minh City, but I call it the Saigon. Yeah. So I spent, since when I graduated from the government school, they call the NIA, that National Institute of Administration. I was assigned by the government to the country as a chief of the administration. I narrow escaped from the offensive, from the communist offensive, and then I tried to get out from the Kontum and go back to Saigon. And the second time, maybe that they call it the Tet offensive. The Tet, that means Lunar New Year. We call it the Tet. The communists said, we welcome, that means ceasefire for 3 days for the Vietnamese, it's celebrated for the Lunar New Year. But everybody, happy to receive the news from the communists. But then, never, I think it's on my life, to the communists, it's a slogan, be careful. I never believed on. because they said that they will, observe the 3-day ceasefire for the people to enjoy for the Lunar New Year's. But then, right in the the day before the first day of the year, at midnight, all the provinces in South Vietnam, they attacked and they bombed, and the scene of the massacre, that's the second time I also escaped, thanks God. So after that, I think the life when I live with my wife and my parents in my hometown, that the countryside, beautiful with the rice field and a lot of the trees, contrary to the in Saigon, where I study. That's the city, noisy and the traffic. But in the country, the rural area, my wife, my parents owned about 3 acres of the rice field. So every summer when vacation, I came back to help my father in the rice field. So I think everybody enjoyed the peaceful life until the communist guerrilla waged the war again until the 3rd of August in 1968. You can believe on about maybe 56 or 58 provinces destroyed by the communist attack. So my parents worried so much when I still with them in the country's home. So my parents urged me by own way with my wife, help me to get out. Try to buy all the means because no official transportation. We have to use any means, any measure to try to go to the city to be safe. So I went back to Saigon. Then, instantly, in 1975, right? Again, Saigon, the city, the capital of South Vietnam, was under severe attack from the north, and they overran Saigon. About 900,000 officials, including myself. Then I worked for the Ministry of Interior as an instructor for the training program in the ministry. So about 900,000 officials were, they issued, they call the announcement, the communists, and they said, all of the people you work for the Republic of Vietnam, that means the former government, to be reported to the headquarters, their headquarters. So I told my wife, because according to the communist announcement, I tried to calm down my wife. I said, they said only about maybe a few days. So you don't need to worry to ask me to bring the food, the dry food or something. But my wife, anyhow, she feels something, not safe. And she said, at least you have to bring the, a packet of the dry food in case. But that's, that's true. Their issue, they call it communicate, that means announcement. But if you believe that, that means you say, okay, it's just very short, just about maybe 2 days. They call attend the re-education and understand the new communist regime about how you behave or how you communicate with the new government. So after my wife, prepared for me a package of the, dry food, I reported to their headquarters. They occupy, the secondary high school headquarters. So I report to them. So since that day, I couldn't see my wife and couldn't see my parents about almost like 3 years. If you live under the communist regime, you have to be very cautious what they hear or what they know from them. They said about 2 weeks, about 1 month, the time will last for maybe 3 years or forever. Yeah. So I can't see my wife sing and my parents. The communists always work every day plan always occur at midnight, 1 a.m. or 2 a.m. So one night, because they recruit from the former official from the Republic of Vietnam, the whole South Vietnam, about, as I mentioned, like 900,000 officials, include myself. I was transported one night at the midnight. They shut off all the the electricity. We can't know where they send us. They throw us by Molotov, Russian the truck. They push us in the trucks, and the truck only loaded only to about 50 or 60 people. That's the maximum. But they push in the end of maybe on almost like 80 or 90. We can't breathe, but they don't care. I think the convoy of what when we come to the a wooded area, the forest, the province called the Tây Ninh, that's in the west side of the South Vietnam, bordering to the Cambodia. So I try to look around, but I don't know where. So I asked the guy nearby and said, "Would you know what area here?" Because things he's in the army before, so he goes for the military operation. So he told me that's the province near Cambodia they call it Tây Ninh, So I know then I knew that that they transport us not close to Saigon, but about maybe 200 kilometers from Saigon to go to the border near Cambodia. So then I spent almost 2.5 years in the jungle. And they don't care how you survive. First 2 days, we have to, things that my wife had prepared for me, the dry food. I still, get some the dry food to survive. All the others, almost like a starve to die. After maybe I think in the roles of because they don't have any house or any facility. You have to make yourself. And in the morning, about maybe 7 o'clock, they open the gate, and they also escorted by the security agent. They allow us to go to the woods and cut on the wood on the branches, and bring back and build like we call a house, but just you make like a blank, something about you can lie down in there, okay. And the first 2 days they don't give any food, so anybody, if you still have some like a dry food or anything you can eat, you survive with that. But after that, when the staff, the communist staff, witness, in my, I call it in my unit about, they divided in my unit about 36 people. They call it a company. I witnessed, every day we have to carry the dead people. Yeah, we don't have any clothes or any the wooden the box to put the corpse in there. Just roll of them in anything like paper, or because we don't have any math. Just like the paper or anything you can find right in there, or try to assemble branches and put the dead people in there, and then bring them to the jungle, and then bury it. Yeah. After 2 and 9 months spent in the, they call the good name re-education center, yeah, or re-education site, but always in the wood, in the forest near the Cambodia. About when they come 1975, April, Saigon collapsed to the communists. In June 1975, until September that year, they allowed my wife, when she applied, to come to see my husband and bring some medicine for me. So then, when they celebrate for the first big celebration, they call the second and okay. So then, my wife she would allow to bring me some medicine and some food. So, but then again, they don't let the people stay in one place. They move around. After 2 months, they move me to another place. That way, you cannot communicate with the others. You will be isolated totally. So one day, they said, okay, we will allow you to write a letter to your wife, your mother, your parents. Something, my wife, she's a teacher, so she know how to write something, good for them, and something accordingly compliant with the communist rule. Yeah. But exactly, I can't tell the truth when I suffer right in the forest. Yeah. So I think maybe the time up. I just summarize after 2.5 years. Live with all the suffering, and thanks, God, thanks Buddha, I still survive. And they release me and go back to see my wife and my parents. So when I come home, I never forget, I still invigorate my determination, leaving the call for freedom, not free. We have to pay the cost to live peacefully and better future for my children. Thank you for your time. Thank you. Thank you for your time. Yeah. Okay, let's see you on. Let's see you on. Yeah. Bye.
I can imagine how we're all so overcome by hearing Tiec's story, and we so honor his bravery. Thank you for sharing. It is now my honor to introduce Rebeca Michelena. Step into the vibrant world of Rebeca, a spirited young immigrant woman ready to share her remarkable journey with anyone willing to lend an ear. With the allure of her infectious enthusiasm and the depths of her experience, Rebeca will captivate you with a tale of resilience, adaptation, and triumph, from navigating a new culture to learning to embrace her own, all the while working towards her future. She is an activist and an advocate for immigration and human rights. Rebeca was born in Venezuela and graduated from Hall High School in 2018. Please welcome Rebeca.
Okay. Hello, everyone. Ooh, okay. Well, not harsh pronunciation, because I know it is difficult, but my name is not Rebeca Michelena. It's Rebeca Michelena. It's all good. But my full birth name is Rebeca Andrina Michelena Suncao. Now, I know what you're thinking. What a mouthful. How could she ever write on a test paper without running out of space? When my family first came here, we adopted the American pronunciation of just Michelena, because at one point you just kind of get tired of correcting people, but it's fine. I was first invited here by Desiree, the lovely lady in the back, and I was a little scared, a little hesitant. I was like, what possibly could I have to contribute to, stories such as the two speakers before me who have gone through so much? What, as me, as a young person, what can I give to the conversation? Like, how could I even tell my story? Where do I begin? Where does my story begin? Because my story and my family story is so tightly interwoven, because we've all been going through this process together. So where do I separate that? Where my parents' journeys are from mine? So that was about 2 months ago. And since then, I have been in a reflective mood, asking myself a bunch of questions. How do I do this? How do I say this? How do I put together in concise words how to tell my story? And I realized I'll just do what I've always done. Just talk. Just maybe a little too much. And, tell it as I see it. Let the words flow through me. Should I start at the beginning? But I thought that's too far back. All you need to know about the beginning is I was a beautiful baby. I gave my parents no trouble. They can confirm. Right, Dad? Perfect. And so I thought, okay, the end, the present, no, it's too much to work backwards. So I thought, you know what, I'll just set the scene. Middle school, positively dreadful. Puberty, rampant. Attitudes left unchecked. And I really began at that point in middle school in 6th grade to really question my identity as an immigrant. Because since then, I kind of always thought, oh, I'm just American. Had all my memories here from elementary school. I never really thought of anything different. And so when I began middle school is when I started to hear the jokes. Oh, you better watch out for Border Patrol. Oh, I'll call ICE on you, girl. And, I'd laugh and joke along because I wanted to fit in. I wanted everyone to laugh with me. I didn't want to be laughed at. And even though these teases and jaunts were constant, they never struck a chord in me. I was secure in myself. I thought, hey, I know 2 languages. I know 2 different cultures. I can have a lens of the world that's different from most of my other classmates. So I thought, lucky me, And then I also realized my lenses weren't really rose-tinted. I wasn't naive in the slightest. I saw my parents and I saw how hard they struggled and how hard they worked themselves. Their soldiers, their shoulders that were straight and proud that I always saw walking behind them. I thought, those are my parents. I saw how they kept on getting hunched year after year through hard work, through sacrifice. And the economic challenges that come with being an immigrant is one that's very pertinent. Many immigrants, young and old, come here, and it's difficult to acquire the necessities of life, get certifications for a job or just make ends meet. And they find themselves often working low-income jobs for, long periods of time, far away from their families, so they're sacrificing time with their families, time that they want to have, so that way their kids can have a better future. And my parents were no different from that. And if they were given the choice, they would not make a different one. They would choose the same route without hesitation. And they tried so hard to shield us from the bitter truth, from the harsh realities. But they couldn't shield us from all of it, though. And that's not on them. That's never something that's their fault. They tried their hardest. No one's born with an instruction book under their arm as to how to be a parent. And I started noticing all those little things that they tried so hard to shield us from. The stares from employees in a store when we started speaking Spanish, and they'd start following us around solely because we're talking in another language. They must have thought, we're thieves. We've come to take a shirt that wasn't even that cute. While I see we're being followed, there's a group of people that look exactly like them actually stealing. But because we're different, we're the bad people. And in school, my teachers would ask me if my parents needed a translator or if I needed a document in Spanish. Even having full conversations with my father and my mother in English where they're talking back and forth. They're not stumbling over their words or anything like that. And I know that my teachers were trying there was nothing against them. They wanted me to feel as comfortable as possible, my family to have no struggles. But it still felt like I was being treated as fragile, like I was a little doll that they wanted to protect, but in realization, they were coddling me. I can handle it. I can face the harsh realizations. We came here knowing it wasn't going to be easy. And all those moments of feeling out of place, of feeling different, of feeling just not included, began to chip away at the resolve I had, at the belief that I had that being special or different by the end of middle school, by the end of 8th grade, didn't feel special anymore. It felt like a burden. It felt like something I should hide, not something I should show proudly. And so I began, much to my dismay looking back, I began to reject everything about Venezuela. I didn't want to listen to the music. I didn't want to eat the food. I didn't want to hear songs or even speak Spanish. I wanted to be American, as red, white, and blue as I could possibly become. So, entering high school, I became hyper aware of every person's behavior. I was distrusting and distant, asking myself constantly, should I tell them? Should I not? Maybe I should tell them just a little bit, or, maybe change a word here or two. Would they still be my friends? Would I still, be there as a normal person? Would anything change? Or would that emotion I've seen too many times in a person's eyes, pity, sadness, that little tilt of the aw, when I tell them that I'm an immigrant, that I'm not a citizen, would that happen? And I didn't want to lie. I didn't want to withhold the truth of who I was. So I tried. I still held on to that belief as tightly as I could. And I was sadly proven wrong many, many times. I remember so vividly telling a person that I thought was closest to me that I was an immigrant, that I still wasn't recognized as a citizen. I was in the process, but it's hard. And we were talking about a sleepover, and it just kind of came up, and I was like, oh, I'm a citizen, I'm not a citizen, I'm an immigrant, just trying to casually put it out there. She grabbed hold of my wrist. Her eyes were vibrating. I didn't know a person could do that. And she said, hey, don't mention that in front of my dad. And when we go to the sleepover, some stuff might be said, but don't take it to heart. Like, I'm still your friend. And yeah. And I thought a friendship between children, a friendship between teenagers, that shouldn't have conditions, that shouldn't be something that has a wall build up or something that is confined into a box. Why is it that boundaries are being made, lines are being drawn in the sand because of who I am? And the highly charged discussion about it was constantly in the air, especially down in Florida, where immigration is a very hot topic. And sadly, more of those experiences followed until my freshman year of high school. That's when my world history teacher, Mr. Malloy, he told me about a quote when we were learning about a part of history. And he said something that I'm sure he had no idea would affect me so much, but it, to this day, is something I don't think I'll ever forget. He told me, and the rest of my class, to be white is to be American. To be anything else is to be hyphenated. And my heart, I remember, dropped to my stomach. And I thought, what have I been enduring all this time? What have I been trying to fight against? Even if I do end up becoming recognized by this country, I'm still different. I'm still not one of you fully. What's going on? I couldn't compute. And in the same week, I received another bit of hard news. We were moving from the sunny side state of Florida to here, to Connecticut, to West Hartford. And it wasn't like it was down the street or The next town over, it was states, multiple states, a different climate entirely. And as I processed all of that information, I was kind of hesitant when we first rocked up to Hall High School. I was in slippers, leggings, and a knitted cover-up in the second week of January. And I thought, that's the warmest thing I have. Everyone looked at me like I was insane. How is this girl not shivering? And I began my tour of Hall High School. And I was genuinely stunned. There's multicultural clubs and ESOL programs. There's teachers that speak multiple languages and where differences are encouraged. I thought, this is weird, this is strange, but it's a wonderful strange. It's something that I thought was warm and inviting. And my guidance counselor, who my parents debriefed about our situation, constantly checked in on me, asking me how I was. When they heard stuff on the news, they're like, hey, could this help your case? Hey, I heard this, isn't this good for you guys? Helping us get started, helping us with jobs, giving us a coat when we didn't have any. And I found a community of like-minded individuals, people who understood the nuances of growing up between cultures. We shared triumphs, struggles. We found solace, and inspiration in each other's journeys. There were moments of pride, discussing with my culture with my classmates during international days or showcasing traditional Venezuelan food during the holidays. And these experiences, they taught me resilience and the value of authenticity. Each cultural encounter that I had with variety of different people gave me a lesson in empathy and understanding, helping me shape into a person that appreciates the beauty of diversity, not just the burdens of it. And I learned quickly that a smile and a happy thought can transcend language, and that curiosity is the universal trait amongst the youth. They show me that despite our differences, there's still so much more to unite us. And happily, I got to know a group of individuals who, as I stand before you today, have proven more times than I could count the true meaning of the word friend. They were my family's biggest supporters, my biggest cheerleaders. And when hurdles appeared in my life that seemed insurmountable, both academically and personally, they were there, my rocks. And I began to have a dangerous emotion, but also a very good emotion, hope. I began to hope again, and I had pride in myself, in my identity. And as the school years flew by senior year, the goal that I had when I first started high school, to be the first person to finish college, was still alive and well. And college was an item that many people consider necessary for success, something that is drilled into you since you start your education. College, you have to go to college, seek higher education. It's necessary. It's always talked about by my parents, my teachers, my colleagues. The opportunities that would come with graduating, with having a degree in your name. But it also comes with a hefty price tag. And after applying to 5 schools, I waited to hear back. I got waitlisted by 2, accepted by 1, denied by 1, and finally, the last college I was waiting for, UConn. I mean, how could I not? And it was during one of my free periods. I was in a teacher's classroom with one of my close classmates at the time, and I thought, let's just check my email. Let's see if I've gotten a reply. I was so nervous, my hand shaking as I grabbed the mouse, and I thought, do I open it? Do I open it? And my teacher, my friend, would huddle behind the computer with me. Open it. What's the worst that could happen? So I opened it. I got in. And I screamed so loud, the teacher from next door thought something had happened. And came with a catch. I didn't get the scholarship I applied for. But I would not be discouraged. So I began the journey of seeking as much financial aid as possible, going to different programs, going to different application centers, seeing what it is that I could get. because I wanted it. I wanted it so badly. I wanted to be there, be someone that my parents would be proud of, say, that's my daughter. After exhausting all other options, being denied, doors slammed in my face, or straight up just being told no, the last hope that I had, the last thread of sanity that I had had after exhausting myself to this point was FAFSA, which is the free application for federal student aid. I looked up a number and thought if I could get a hold of someone, maybe I could explain my situation, say that, look, I have some documents, but not all of them. Is there anything I could do? So, after school, I went to the home of my closest confidant, my best friend, and I told him, go make me a sandwich, I'm gonna call, and I'm gonna get this. I dialed the number and a woman's voice answered, hello. And I go, hello, I have some questions. I was wondering if you could help me. She goes, sure, no problem, what is it? And at the time, my throat was right here. I thought, can I get it out? Can I explain everything as concisely as possible? And I go, okay, is there any program or any application, anything at all that could be given towards a non-American citizen? You know, is there any type of W-2 or DACA or anything? And in a sickly sweet voice, she said, no, we don't give aid to any of those. Those, she had said. And I go, oh, okay, thank you. You're welcome, have a nice day. And hung up. And when I had put my phone down, it was, to anyone in the room, would have been, oh, it's a soft thud. To me, it sounded like a gun had gone off beside my head, like the crashing of 1,000 waves. It was the sound of the last thread of reality that I had been holding on to, the last hope I had, snapped. And my poor friend, coming back with the sandwiches he had made, he told me later, he said, when he saw me, he said, the woman I thought was a mountain had been reduced to a pebble. And he was right. My life up until that point was building onto this. It was holding on to this. And it had shattered because I was one of those. Why, in that moment, I felt why was being born in a different country the determining factor for all of this. It has only been a year. I came to this country in 2001. I was a year and a half old. The only memory I have of Venezuela is the color of the tile from the apartment. I remember it so vividly. So why is it that all of my memories, all of my friends, all of my schooling had been here? I think I was as red, white, and blue as they come. But because of that one little year, 365 days, I was denied. I was different. I was pushed out. I was not someone to be helped. And I thought, why or how can one truly appreciate life if a system doesn't work in our favor? How do I accommodate that? And I did the best I could. And for the rest of the year, I tried hard. I still kept my grades up. I wasn't going to let that tank it. I graduated and I started working with my parents. I left the emotions of that day behind. I can't change the past. I can't change the cards that I've been dealt. I can only control how I play them. And as I grew older, I attempted once to see if my immigrant background was a strength, not a hindrance. The ability to navigate different cultures that turned me adaptable and open-minded, maybe it was still there. This perspective that was deemed invaluable, both personally and professionally. And becoming older also meant that my parents wanted me and my siblings to be more aware of the legal issues we had, because the process isn't just getting a lawyer and signing a bunch of documents. It's a plethora, to put it lightly. Immigration laws and policies are complex and ever-changing, often leaving young immigrants or old immigrants in a state of uncertainty and fear. We never know when the tide will turn. It could be in our favor, and the next day the door could slam in our faces. And the threat of deportation looms large. It casts a shadow, drastically controlling our lives, thinking if I make one mistake, this could ruin not just me, but my family's life. And despite these obstacles, my parents, to this day, have demonstrated resilience, courage, and an unwavering determination to succeed against all odds. And they passed that on to me. As a result of the resilience and the grit, we contribute to our communities and we strive to make a positive impact on the world around us. Now, that being said, there are times when this dual identity felt like a tightrope walk, a marathon within a marathon, trying to balance the expectations of two worlds, the one that my parents had brought with them, that I was brought up in, and the one I had grown into. Though through my experiences, I realized I didn't have to choose one or the other. I could be an immigrant and an American, and embracing a hyphenated identity that was uniquely mine is my story at the end of the day. A story that is mine and no one else's. And even though that chapter of my life has closed and I continue to search forward, my journey, on the other hand, has only just begun. Thank you.
So I have few words, but a lot of feelings. And I'm sure all of you do too. So now I would like to introduce a friend, and before that, we will, after our friend speaks for a bit, we would love to have you ask questions of our guests and enjoy refreshments. Leah, that's okay? I know, we're all a little overcome right now. I'd like to introduce to you my friend, Adrienne Billings-Smith, the Director of the Office of Diversity Advancement for the town of West Hartford. Come on over.
Good evening, everyone. Again, I am Adrienne Billings-Smith, the leader of the Office of Equity Advancement for the town of West Hartford. I did not plan to speak, just to be honest here, but I listened to those stories and I wanted to bring it full circle of how we got here to this day of the Gertrude Blanks storytelling that will be our annual ceremony. Has anybody ever been out to that mural that sits out there? When we were discussing the mural, I had two people on my committee. I led the committee for that mural, and it was Rosemary Tate and Gail Crockett. And they said, one person must go on that mural. And I said, who? Little backstory, I'm from Florida. I wasn't fortunate enough to be told stories by Miss Blanks, but they said, Gertrude Blanks will go on that mural. I do what they say all the time. So she sits at the forefront of our mural in the front of our library. And that's so we can have these things that happen. Her story, while she was a great storyteller and a big storyteller, so I hear, she also had her own story. And you want to keep those alive. So to Rebeca and Tiec and Adeebah, it was very special to hear from you tonight because we have to keep your stories alive. And that's where it comes full circle. That's what these storytellings mean. So we will have big and bright stories in the future, but these stories, because Gertrude had a story, mean something. And it means something to our community, West Hartford. We are a community that is diverse, but not all of our stories are told. And we have to continue to tell these stories because tonight, how many of you related to one of these speakers? Absolutely, but you would have never known unless they told you their story, unless they spoke about their experiences. You know, this world, we're in this tough time. And we had an opportunity to go, I relate to that. Girl. Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. Because we have been there. We have had our struggles. We have had our triumphs. But at the end of the day, we have community. And that's what West Hartford is about. So I do hope that you enjoyed tonight's stories. I surely did. Like I said, I did not plan to speak, but I just wanted to bring it full circle, and I wanted to thank Rosemary and Gail for saying Gertrude had to be on that mural, because without them, this wouldn't exist. So thank you.
No, I'm just here to help you direct people. Okay, all right. So if, oops. Oh. This always happens to me. I'm always the smallest. Anyway, so we have sat a long time, so please feel free to get up and enjoy the snacks that we have for you. And I'd like to invite Adeebah and Rebecca and Tiec to come up here. And if any of you have questions, can we do it rather informally?
Yeah.
Okay?
Does anyone have questions? Raise your hand.
Tiec?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I just want to say, listen to the young lady that lives in Florida.
Nice to meet you.
That being in a new community here in West Hartford, in the 20s, and being singled out and speaking differently, something differently. I just see the parallel with poor Gertrude, because she was from the South. And then she lived in Hartford and coming to West Hartford back then. So she graduated in 1938. So figure 1935, 36, 38. She not only stood up because of her color, but because of her accent and her beliefs. And I'm sure she had friends, but she maybe had a lot of people that maybe picked on her. And to know that she actually graduated, and she not only graduated, but she contributed to West Hartford, Greater Hartford environment. And I think that really tells us about the human spirit. You know, that regardless what happens, and you have a dream, you try to live up to it, you listen to your elders, your grandparents, your mother, and that's what really pushed you through. And I just want to say thank you. And thanks to the young lady for sharing.
Gail.
So I have a question for all of our speakers. Can you briefly tell us how each of you actually found your way to West Hartford, which we're so happy you did? And I also would like to know, did you flee your country coming to America? Because I know in Vietnam, we know that's very, similarly, Venezuela had their conflicts as well, and Syria. So that's important because we are still a welcoming country, and there are welcoming communities, right? And to hear each of you talk about your struggle, which you didn't go into depth, but I hear you. I heard you. And I am in awe of your survival, Vietnam, coming from Syria and Venezuela. And I just can't say enough how extraordinary, truly extraordinary it is that you're here with us, and so thank you.
Thank you. You want to answer that question
Yeah,
first?
I can start.
Okay.
So basically, we really didn't have any idea about the America before we came here. So just to speak briefly, we really didn't have any idea about America before we came over. We didn't know anybody. We've never heard of any of our neighbors or families that went to America. We were placed in Connecticut, and then to be specific, in Manchester. But if I remember correctly, one time my parents went shopping with one of the group members, and I believe he took them on a drive throughout the center. And that's when it all started. Yep. So since then, it was my, they set a goal, my parents set a goal, and they said we want to live in West Hartford, and they made it happen. Yep.
Hello again. With Venezuela, we didn't really flee per se. We knew that it was getting worse and worse and worse. And so my parents wanted to be preemptive. And they came to Florida. And then from Florida, we were struggling a little bit. You know, work was rough. People didn't want to hire or take a chance on people with our status. And my mother got a call from her family up here in Connecticut, because my mother is Portuguese and my father is Basque, but they both were born and raised in Venezuela. And so my mother got a call from her cousins, and they said, hey, I know you're having a rough time. Come up. We'll help you out. We're your family. And my cousin owned a house, a townhouse that he rented, and so we took the first floor. And so all 5 of us crammed into a tiny house, but we made it work. And so since then, we've been enjoying West Hartford. We like it a lot. We love the different cultures, the different experiences that are here. Celebrate West Hartford that just happened, something that is constantly uplifting the community, small vendors, small businesses. It's always something that's nice to see. And so we decided, once we saw how beautiful it was, we're not leaving. Y'all can't get rid of us. Yeah, exactly. Okay. Where are you going? Next, let's see.
Any other?
We'll be back.
Okay. Sure. Of course. Of course.
My question is whether the 3 of you have been able to get your citizenship, and if not, is there anything here in the community we can do to help you to do that?
What?
So thankfully, we were able to get the American citizenship. We had to go through the process, which was about 5 years, reside in the United States, and thankfully we passed the test, and now we're Americans.
Can't relate. So sadly, the way Venezuela's relationship with the United States plays a big factor. And so because we fled, left so young, especially, there's how we have socials here in America, we have social security cards. In Venezuela, there's something called a célula. And you get that after a certain amount of time living in Venezuela. And so when my parents came to renew their passports, they wondered about ours, since mine has a picture of me as adorable little baby. And they thought, oh, let's renew it. So they went to the embassy that's in Boston. When they got there, there was one man on a desk, stood there and said, the embassy's been closed, and there's not going to be one open. Venezuela's relationship with the United States had gotten so poor that they shut down any and all Venezuelan embassies. So there's no way for us to go to an embassy and renew or talk to anybody about it. We've been having to communicate with family members and friends in Venezuela, pay enormous amounts of money to get things notarized, to get things sent over, because people they're scared. Venezuela doesn't offer dual citizenship. It's not like, oh yeah, you can be here and be there. No, it's us or bust. And so with that, we haven't been able to truly get citizenship, but I can happily say that the last 2 months, we've been working with our lawyer, and we were finally granted permission to work. So I can, not work under the table. I can get a paycheck with my name on it and show it. I've heard cold, hard American cash. So, we're thankful for that. But sadly, it's still something that we're working towards. It's not, as much as we appreciate community support, this is truly just in the government's hands now. So, fingers crossed, thoughts and prayers. It's a waiting game when it comes to relationships in between countries. So, but not giving up. Still got this. So.
There were two questions. The first one was,
To West Hartford.
yes, how did you come to West Hartford specifically? And the second question was about whether you have acquired citizenship and if there's anything the community could do to help, if not.
Okay, thank you. Hi, everybody. Again, I come to explain to you how I come to the USA. As I mentioned before, 1972, I get the scholarship. I get the scholarship through the U.S. Embassy in Saigon. When I work as the training and in training department belong to the Ministry of Interior South in Saigon, Vietnam. 1972, I got the scholarship through the U.S. Embassy in Saigon. So I was sent to this state of Connecticut for the 1 year training in, they call it DATP, Development Administrator Training Program, 1 year. That's the program run by University of Connecticut and yet funded by the State Department in Washington. Yeah. So I spent 1 year in Connecticut, 1972. And I still, because now every day when I drive from the Asylum Avenue, I remember the building 1380. That's the where I study the program run by, yeah. And still, memory still activated when I remember my program coordinator, Mrs. Mapromatis, and her assistant, Dave, and the last name I forget. But those are two people that I owe my gratitude very much because they helped me, because back then my English is still hesitating. And Mathis and Dave always support me in communication. Yeah. Then I go back and tell you how I come to America. The Vietnam, with the map, with the Vietnam at the S shape. My hometown, that's the Khosan province, very close to the Pacific Ocean, but I don't know how to swim. Because, during the wartime, my parents always, insisted you have to be successfully in academic, study to avoid drafting in the army. Yeah, because if you fail, they will pull you to the army, and then you go for the battling. And who knows, lucky or unlucky, so you survive. So when the communists overrun Saigon, I spent 2.5 years, as they call the good name, but that is like you are in the. You ostracized in the remote area, far away from family, from my parents. Even after about 9 months, my parents didn't know where am I about until when they celebrate their big holiday. They call September 2nd, as the communists, like, you know, the independence holidays, yeah. So they allow my wife to come and write a letter to me. And after that, she, you know, submit like a letter to come to see me. The first time, after the 7 months in the, you know, in the jungle, and almost like no food enough, starving. When she was allowed to come to see me, I sit about, you know, from here to there. But she come and look, and she can't recognize me because so thin and on the skeleton, you know, on the back. Yeah, because, okay, we starve all day. They don't have enough the rice for us, even though we just need, like, you know, 2 bowls of the rice for no morning, no breakfast, only for the lunch and the dinner, 2 bowls of rice. So then I have to use like my like a strategy, like how I can come, how I can, you know, like survive if I don't have anything in the morning. So in the dinner, I have to eat only for like a one and a half, you know, portion. So I save the food for the morning. So then, after 2.5 years, they released me, and they asked my wife and my parents sign the, you know, the paper to guarantee that, you know, when I was released, don't involve any political activity against the government. So I said, for the people like me, how I can, you know, like stand up and against like the robust, the communist. Okay. Yep. Thank you. Thank you. When they release, they don't allow me to stay in my apartment in Saigon. They said you have to go back to if you don't have your hometown. We send you to the, you know, they call the name like a new economic zone, and that means you will be exiled there and work on your by your feet, your hand. They don't, yeah. So when I go back, when they release me, I go back to my parents' home in the countryside, and then my will and my determination, I said to my wife, I have to fight on the way to get out. If I have to pay for my life, because cannot live in here, because they know me that I belong to the Republic of Vietnam before, and I was the employee, and also my position, they know like I am the head of like a training department in Ministry of Interior. So they discriminate very much, especially when they look at my record in my department. I was sent to USA for the training, so they hate me very much. Yeah. So that's why I planned 7 months and asked my wife, prepare to face for all the challenges. If you can go along with me, or I don't I don't ask you, like, to go with me, because my wife then, pregnant, and about maybe 120 days, we'll be giving the birth. So I asked her for myself. I cannot live in this regime. They hate me very much. I cannot get any job. I need to go, even I have to risk my life. And she agreed. But the day when I decided to leave, and she changed her mind. No, she said, no, I have to go, even though that I accept any circumstances we have to deal with. So I said, okay. Back then, my brain, I cannot, analyze any, with her, because confusing and any, a lot of the thing in my mind. I said, just go. Yeah, yeah. And then some family, when I tutor for their children, a lady who very rich and have the monies, and then she come up to my wife in Saigon and she said, did your husband enough courage to go to escape? Yeah, by boat. So my wife said that, he will, and because he told many times that he cannot live in this regime, because no job, starving all day, and no future. So I told I accept to leave. So then I work on the plan, where I have to go, how I have to preserve some food ration to last for maybe 2 days, 3 days, until we reach to the okay, all right. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So she on way, asked me for the timing. Okay. Yeah. So then, one night, I was waking up by the guy who said, okay, the time now up, you have to leave. We go to remote area in the coastal area, and then we go to the guy who organized the escape plane. They give me location and where and how I can get on the small boat and sailing to the big boat in the ocean, because of my province, coastal area, very close to the Pacific Ocean. So that is the way I landed in Indonesia. Yeah, Indonesia. Yeah, and for 5 months, 5 months living there. I think thanks for the Indonesian people. They are Muslim, but they are very, very, human, and love the people. And we don't have any food. And every day, the family, the Indonesian family in small island, they call it Uban Island, they cook the food and they bring it to me and bring to my wife. Then, yeah. Yeah. So that's so I don't want to waste of your time. So I think that, from I am the boat. They call the boat people, and using, yeah, I think. Yeah. So when I go retrospect, I put in my note, so maybe someday my children will read it. That have to sacrifice on, on the life with mom to get out of the country. Not only like, to look for, the better life, but we look for your better life in education and future. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. We so appreciate your coming tonight for an unforgettable evening of just such good feelings for our friends and neighbors. And we invite you to enjoy refreshments. And if any of you have any questions that you would like to answer, please feel free to come up and do so.
Don't be shy, don't bite.
Thank you. Thank you. Good night. Be safe.